and we are custom stone importers. So I'm going to tell you, we're going to kind of focus on the Italian architectural stone industry today, but before I get into that, I'm just going to give you a quick background about us and what we do. So I started working in the stone industry in the late 80s in Phoenix, Arizona. I worked for a small company called D. Santana Stone, and we imported stone from central Mexico. So you may or may not be familiar with these cantera and adoquin and limestones from central Mexico. They're very rustic, and they're really popular all over the Southwest. But this is actually a house in Myrtle Beach, so you can do it here too. And then this is actually also another house in Hilton Head in that same stone. So I've been around long enough to watch some of these trends, and this was back in the 90s where a lot of that Tuscan sort of stuff was happening. And then I moved out here in the late 90s to the Asheville area, and kind of in response to the market, and we started importing stone from Italy. This is a Lecce beige stone. This is a house in Seattle, Georgia. And not only were we importing limestone, though, like this is the Lowe's residence. Ken Lowe was the founder of HGTV. So in this house, inside and out, we provided 30 different types of stones for landscaping, for the house, for fireplaces, all kinds of patterned flooring, etc. So we've not only kind of expanded the kind of stones we do, but also the areas that we work. We also carry domestic stones. This is the Bobby McAlpine house in Greenville, South Carolina, we just completed. This is Indiana limestone. And domestically, we carry Indiana limestone, Alabama limestone, Texas limestone. And then moving on, we also import custom marble, granite, quartzite. This is the original DuPont building in Wilmington, Delaware that underwent a pretty big renovation about 8 years ago. And we supplied all the custom cut quartzite marbles and stone for this project. So everything's cut in Italy and shipped over here, ready to install. Right here in Atlanta, that's 99 West Paces Ferry, we provided these giant blocks of Travertino Romano travertine for the walls, once again from Italy. And there's also quartzite going around the building. And then, as our expertise has grown, we also have a historical restoration division. Here we are at the Biltmore Estate installing new Indiana limestone paver slabs. And here is Longwood Gardens, which is right outside of Philadelphia, if any of you are familiar with that. And another big restoration project where they installed Vicenza beige limestone from Vicenza, Italy in the 1920s, and 100 years later they were ready to do some restoration work. Which, by the way, the Palladios Villa Rotonda we were talking about, that's Vicenza beige limestone, same stone. So I'm going to focus, as I said today, on the Italian stone business. And it's all stone starts with the same thing. It starts with quarries. They're open pit quarries. You've probably seen pictures of been to Carrara. And there are also quarries within the mountains. This is a quarry in northern Italy, right at the border of Switzerland and Italy. It's a Lazza marble quarry, a white marble. This is the hardest marble in the world. If any of you have seen the new transportation hub center at Ground Zero, that white marble, beautiful, that's all Lazza marble. They tested marbles from all around the world, and they figured that marble would survive the traffic of such a place. So then starts with the blocks. So our center of operations in Italy is in Verona, and blocks come from all over the world, from India, China, Africa, Brazil, and even half an hour up the street in Lithuania is the Silver Cloud Quarry, and that is partially owned by one of our fabricators in Italy. So really, if you're looking for stone, it's going to be in Verona. It comes from all over the world. And some of the most unique slabs as well. You know, not all the most beautiful and the most unique slabs make their way to the United States. The wholesalers that bring the slabs here for your local granite shop are going to select what they feel like the market is going to bear. And sometimes you might have a client that saw something amazing in Architectural Digest, or and it's not at your local granite shop, but it's probably in Verona. So that's kind of our specialty, is to have the access to those unique slabs. More slabs. And I don't know if any of you've ever seen a block being cut into slabs, but that's a diamond wire saw that cuts the slabs. It's embedded with little bronze like pebbles, and it's pretty fascinating. It takes, I can't remember, 2 days or something to go through a whole block to create all those slabs. So it's quite a production. I took that video last week, actually. So, you know, to get a block of stone, and there's two ways to deal with it. One is you saw it into slabs. Another is we call it blocking. Block it into modules for dimensional stone, for cutting anything from a sink to a column to window surrounds. So in northern Italy, there are a lot of small stone carving shops still in production. This is Giuseppe, a good friend of ours, who's making a shield for us. The way these little shops work is they also are hired out by the larger shops, like Antolini, and you know, some of these very well-known, big-time companies will hire these very talented local carvers to do their work. We work with everybody. We work with the local little shops, and we work with the big fabricators, just depending on the project. And this is Alfredo working on a really fun piece. This was for a house in Greenville. In the middle of the pediment, the client wanted a shield. He had a pest control company called Gregory's Pest Control. You may have seen those little green trucks around. And his logo had these little tentacles coming across the front. And the idea is it's bedbug hidden behind the shield. So we will carve anything at your request. So not too many people know what that is except for us and them. And now we're seeing more and more robotics in the field of stone. It's the factories, I mean, even the smaller stone carving shops are investing in robots. And the precision is amazing, the production is so much quicker, and it's really solving a big problem, which is we don't have a lot of carvers anymore. We don't have a lot of carvers in Italy or Mexico and places where we used to have hundreds of carvers. So, you know, on the one hand, it's kind of sad to be replacing that handmade quality. On the other hand, these young people who have been in families where they've been carvers for generations are going to college and learning these technical skills, and they're able to apply it in the industry in a different way. And here are just some of the modern fabrication, machines. there's not too much I could say when you could see what really happens. I mean, what can be done. This is all done by robots. So there's stone, they embed like gold into the stone, gold leaf into the stone, ink, different types of stone is embedded.
Could I ask in terms if you were doing a comparison cost of, you know, for a project, you had the robot, you had the person, what's the difference?
The difference?
Cost, yes, for the same project, what would be the savings or the difference? I know that may be hard to assess.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say it's not significant. The difference is not, no. And part of it is because it's blending together now so much, where the stone carvers are still working and the robots are still, you know, so it's all sort of blending together.
Right, it's not a
exactly. It's not like robot versus,
right.
You know, and actually a lot of times the carvers are doing the finished work on those pieces anyway. They're not complete.
Right,
you know, they still need that hand finish. Here's a robot honing a piece of marble. This is a very interesting piece. It is a single block of stone that is being fabricated into a kitchen island. It's going to take about 3 months for this robot to work on it. So, anybody want to venture a guess at how much that cost?
I was just going to ask you how much it cost.
$700,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, back home.
Wow. How long is that?
3 months.
No, say how the length.
I'm not sure how long it is. I think it's probably about 10 feet or so. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The solid block.
Wow.
There are people that need help trying to figure out where to spend their money. They can always come up with ideas, you know. This is really, I love this tub. They actually, I don't know if you saw, there's a towel that's carved into it. You can see over there. And a little starfish. I thought that was really cool. All done on a robot, completely.
So everything inside was waste?
Yes. It was.
They make coasters out of that.
Yeah, there's always stuff. Here's a beautiful double sink made out of one piece of stone. Once again, a great achievement of a robot. And you know, another thing that's happening a lot are stone inlays, mixing stones and putting leather into the stone. A lot of this is driven by the designers, you know, so you might have a client that you know, has a fabric that they want to match in the stone. So we can work with them, you know, really closely to help design that. Another really big thing right now are the textures in the stone, and I brought a few samples of some of the different textures. They're endless because custom textures are just a possibility. But what's really cool here too, and it's so interesting because this used to be like absolutely a no-no, is to mix a finish on the same piece of stone. The veining is actually proud, and the background is sort of a rustic texture. And over here you see where it's polished and leathered, and the veining is proud, all in the same piece of stone. But it just really shows the like kind of the art within the stone itself. And this is another inlay floor for a church, custom designed. And just a wall of different patterns and textures. So, you know, in here it's polished, and out here it's leathered. I thought this was really cool because the stone's not only undulating, but it also has beautiful patterns on it. And of course, book matching slabs, but why not mix it with some interesting background, some textured wall tiles. And of course, we bring textures outside too. We're doing contemporary homes in the Asheville Mountains where they're glass and stone, and people are wanting to do really interesting patterns and mixing textures for more interest. So in northern Italy, the companies that we work with have been very conscientious about sustainability forever, before it became cool. They plant trees in the quarries, and this is where they live. This is their home. It's a beautiful place, and so it's always been part of what they do. Our biggest partner recycles 77% of the water that they use. 35% of their energy comes from solar panels. It is just part of the culture that this sustainable practices are just part of what they do. So we're really proud to be working with very conscientious people about that. So I'm going to talk to you really quick about natural stone versus precast. Sometimes we lose a job to precast, and we'll lose the job because of the cost. But they're not always. Stone is not always going to be more expensive, and I'll show you in a minute why. But can you go to the next slide, Hannah? Mm-hmm. So we recently did this project, actually, wait a second, in Greenville, South Carolina, and it was really interesting because we always tend to work with the same installers, and in this particular case, the owner wanted to use a pretty big masonry contractor, Cherokee Masonry. We weren't familiar with them. We knew they did schools and maybe some precast, but our work, as you can see, is very specialized, and I was a little nervous about working with them. But we said, okay, fine, we'll work with you. So I visited the job site when they were working on the installation, and the installers started to talk about the difference between working with precast and natural stone. And as he was talking about it, I said, hold on a second, Hannah, could you bring your video over? And he'll explain to you, in his own words, as an installer, why he thinks, working with natural stone is preferable.
Again with Cutstone Studios. We're back here at our project in downtown Greenville, and we're really excited to be working with Tommy Davidson with Cherokee Masonry. He is doing an amazing job. He has a crew of 20. They're doing a killer job on the installation of the limestone and the brick. These guys are artists. So,
the stone is some of the smoothest stone that I've worked with. Better than precast. It cuts smooth, it's easy to miter, and I sent you pictures on that. Just some of the layout and the measurements are perfect, all the way to a T, and it has to be when you do the arches and stuff like that. Some of the nicest stone that I've worked with, period, because I'm used to cast stone, and it's brittle, it don't drill good, don't polish good, stuff like that if you have to cut miter pieces. That kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Are you using airspace behind the stone? I can't remember.
Yeah, 1 inch.
A 1 inch
airspace.
Okay. Well,
and we're using stainless steel anchors to anchor it. The drill's good, or drilling and anchoring the stone.
Great. Awesome.
I ain't had no chips yet. So knock on wood.
Well, stay tuned, you guys. We're going to keep you updated, and I know that we're in good hands now with you guys and your crew, so we'll be back.
So, somebody that works with the material gives us a good referral. I think that's really important to us. And this is the house. This is the project finished. Well, almost finished. So that was Lecce beige limestone from northern Italy. And now I want to go back to cost. This is Longwood Gardens. If you've never been there, there's a huge wall that's all these wall fountains, and it's kind of the center where they do the light show, the fountain light show. And when we were working on this project, they decided to add this screen wall to it, which is made out of the Vicenza beige limestone. There's a grotto back in here, and so you walk through those little arches, and there's a waterfall that comes in the middle. It's really spectacular. Every one of those little diamond shapes is angled so that the light will shine into that space. And they originally thought, well, there's no way we can afford to do this in stone. We're going to do it in precast. Well, nobody would even touch it in precast. It was beyond, I mean, and when they got prices, it was through the roof. So not that most of you are probably going to have a project like this, but when you have a custom project where there's a lot of detail, or where it's kind of unusual, a front entry that might have a lot of detail in it, give us an opportunity, or someone an opportunity to price it in stone, and you might be surprised at that it's pretty affordable. And just a word on shop drawings. That's the key to success in these projects. We start with your great architecture drawings, and then our own technical designers will come in and do the shop drawings. We're really about boots on the ground. We like to spend time on the job site to analyze the situation, work closely with the builder, create framing drawings if it's needed, and work with the architects really early on to help when you're even designing the project. These are some of the drawings, and a lot of people think, oh, they can't even imagine doing like a whole bathroom that's prefabricated in Italy. Well, these are our shop drawings for a bathroom that was. Some of the shop drawings, there's a whole bunch of them, but there were over 300 custom cut pieces of stone for this bathroom, and they were all cut in Italy. And this is the bathroom. So we brought all the pieces, laid them all out on the floor, and installed it, and every single piece fit perfectly. We also do something called digital dry lay, where we import the slabs. We take your CAD drawing, we import it into our program, and then we will import the slabs and show the different layouts in the book matching. This is a key drawing for a contemporary home we're working on right now in Asheville. It's all glass and stone. It's a very precise pattern. Every single piece of stone has a number and has a unique location on that house. Not everything starts with a shop drawing. I wanted you to see this because it's kind of a neat project in Charlotte. We had a very creative client who gave us photographs, and she had these kind of funky little fiber boxes. It was a remodel, and basically this picture in the lower left, she had a picture of drapes. No, wallpaper. It was wallpaper. And she said she wanted that pattern from the wallpaper carved into the face of the fireplace. So we took that pattern. We've got artists on staff that drew it all out, and we created the pattern in the face of the fireplace. And what's really interesting about this house, it's like 4 very unique different fireplaces in one house, and 3 different countries represented. This is Ostra from the Yucatan, that's soapstone from Brazil, that's lilac from northern Italy, and Lecce white stone from southern Italy. So working with one supplier, you can have stones from all over the world. And I'm going to finish up with this project. This is a mausoleum that we are working on in Wilmington, Delaware, for a pretty prominent family. And the exterior is all Vicenza Giallo limestone from northern Italy. The interiors will be all book-matched Calcutta and a granite called Pietro Grigio. And this was the architect's drawings. We're working with Chico Nani Pietro Ciccone in New York City on this project. He's an amazing architect, does amazing work. If you go to the next slide, these are our shop drawings for the mock-up. So when we do projects like this, we always like to do a mock-up. And if you go to the next slide, that's the mock-up, and that's us in Italy with the architect and the owners looking at that mock-up. We're shipping that right now to Delaware, and they're going to be setting it up. And then here, the client selected the Calicut slabs. They came to Italy with us and selected the slabs and found the granite for the floor. And we even took the client inside the Vicenza Giallo quarry so they could see inside the mountain that their stone was coming from. We're also providing the bronze doors and windows, so we took them to the bronze artist shop. The cats represent the different finishes for her to select. And there we are in Italy, having fun. So that's pretty much it. We love taking our clients to Italy and getting them to experience and really appreciate what they're getting, because it's a connection to history that is incredible, and to actually see it. And she cried. Let's just say our client cried when she saw that mock-up. It was just very emotional for her. It was quite the experience. Yes.
What is the location? I've seen that. I'm just drawing a blank.
Pietra, the opera in Vicenza, the Palladio's opera that he did not finish. Scamozzi finished it. Yeah, that was an incredible place. Any questions or anything?
So you guys are furnishing install?
We do turnkey. Yeah. I mean, we don't always, as you saw that one builder. Sometimes a builder will bring their own installers, but we insist on having a good relationship with them. It's very important.
What's the name of the architect you said for the mausoleum?
Pietro Ciccone. It's from New York City. Yeah.
How do you spell his last name?
If you want me to spell that name, Picognani.
Okay.
Ciccone. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Jane. And just so everyone knows, I've worked with Jane, and they're not all, let's go to Italy and pick out slabs. She did work with some clients of mine on a fireplace around, and they're very happy with the work.
Thank you.
It was not an outrageous amount of money at all.
No.
It was very well priced.
Yeah.
So,
That's something to keep in mind too. Just because I'm showing all these big fancy things doesn't mean you can't call us up to do a fireplace. We, all day long, keeps the lights on. We don't get these mausoleums all the time.